Are you aware that Vocational High School is one of Newark schools in the greatest need of repairs?
No, I'm not, but you made me aware of it now.
All right. Has the Newark Public School District or Vocational High School provided you with the information pertaining to the high school's need to fix the water leaks and the fire alarm?
No, they did not.
Why not?
Honestly, I have no idea. The administration here is so, kind of off. So they don't really inform us about many things until the end, when the thing, like, it just hit
So why you don't go to them and ask them tell them?
We ask, or we do make suggestions, but it's like it goes through one and not the other.
Okay. Can you tell us about any experiences with the leaks and the fire drills?
Right there when you walk in, close to the between the culinary and band, they have, when it rains, they have put like a garbage can right there so that way the water drips and stuff like that. Like during when it rained and stuff in classrooms, like my chemistry class when they got flooded because it rained and it came through the ceiling, so we couldn't stay in there. Like it gets bad sometimes.
So where did you have class that?
We had class in another classroom down the hall.
Okay. How do you feel about the students and employees' safety at Vocational High School?
I believe our safety is okay sometimes, but as far as the maintenance problem, no, I don't think it's really.
Why not?
Because we become exposed to lead paint and then it gets in our skin and through our system, and it kind of messes with our brains and stuff.
Do you tell your How did you find out?
Because I hear the teachers talk about it all the time.
And what do you hear?
Like about the leaks, the moles, everything. Like the floor breakage, the ceilings falling, everything. But like if you ask me, I think that it's more the district who should be really concerned and telling us, but we can't fix nothing unless the district help us. We need the district help.
So you don't complain to your principal and then
we do, but what else? What much can they do if the district not giving them nothing? They don't have nothing to help compare it.
Do you have any of students or staff that experience health issues caused by the leaks and the fire alarm?
I don't really know of that, but like broken glass, like from shattered windows, I've seen something cut out.
How do you feel about the students and the employee safety at Vocational High School?
I think we have bad risks. I think anything can happen.
Why do you say that?
We got kids with asthma, ADHD here, and that could affect them in some type of way.
Do you believe that it's possible for students to receive a high quality education in this type of learning environment?
I don't think so. I think no one's able to learn if you got to worry about what's going to flood, what's going to fall on you. So it should be fixed up.
Okay.
Honestly, I think they need to repair everything. Like it be leaks in the school, classroom leaks, outside the school. Everything needs to be repaired.
Do they do anything about it?
Honestly, no. Like sometimes they try to, they talk about the problem, but they don't necessarily do nothing about it. Like when it needs to be done.
Can you tell us about any experience that you had?
Sometimes when it's raining real hard and we walk through the metal detector thing, it be leaking up there. It be leaking on top of by the security stuff. We just need to fix the building up. They need to fix the building up better and keep from little cracks and stuff. Keep it sealed and stuff from roaches and stuff.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, they haven't gone into any detail. I know they've done some renovations. It's an older building built in 1981, and my mom went there starting in 1923, so we're going back a long ways, and they really haven't done a real lot to improve the building since then, other than the necessities. I personally haven't. They didn't let anyone in the building once they found it. And but there was pictures that we saw when we attended the meeting over at Eastside High School.
everybody, welcome to YMS Live. I'm Brianna Hall, and we're here with Miss Maria. Hi, Miss Maria.
Hey, how are you?
Recently, we've been figuring out that it's a lot of school closing. So, in your opinion, why do you think schools are being closed down?
Well, in Newark, the state is actually in charge of repairing and building new schools. And over the last 2 years, the governor put a hold on repairs and new construction. And so a lot of the schools that were in need of repair, that didn't happen. And now we have schools that are being shut down.
Okay, how is the funding for Newark expand? Like, how do they fund schools in Newark?
Well, the way that they fund school repairs and new construction in Newark is that Newark is part of it's an SDA district, a School Development Authority district. And basically the state has a pool of money. The state actually has $4 billion that's been allocated for new school construction and repairs. And so the state decides what repairs are going to happen in the 31 ABBA districts or SDA districts. Newark is one of them. So there's not a specific amount of money. The state's actually deciding of all these districts which ones are going to get repairs and new construction.
Okay, so the state distributes the money. So they think about which schools gets the most money. Why don't they just try to fix all North Public Schools? Because all North Public Schools need help.
That's a great question. And part of the problem is that they're not just thinking about Newark Public Schools, they're thinking about schools across the state, and they're looking at how to spend the money. And instead of thinking about how they can fix all of the schools, they're thinking about how they can save money. And that's really a problem.
How can money start getting put in the schools so we can actually see the change?
I mean, the school funding should be there now. They should take that money that they have and they should start repairing schools immediately. And the reason that they're not doing that is they're taking their time evaluating what schools should be repaired and what schools shouldn't. What they should really be doing is just putting that money into the school repairs, because all of these schools need repairs. We can't be pitting one repair against another. They're all things that need to be done.
With failing schools, do you believe it's easier to tear them down or to fix them back up?
It really depends on the extent of the disrepair. You always want to minimize the amount of disruption that students are going to have. So if you need to, tear down an entire school, that's going to cause a lot of disruption because students are going to have to be moved to other schools, possibly bust out of their neighborhood. We don't want to do that. So it really depends. If the repairs are minimal and they can be done, then we should keep the schools. I mean, we have schools that may be old, but they are, well-constructed, good schools, and we should try to fix them. And then if the school is in a condition that's beyond repair, then we should build new schools. The main point is that we need to have the money to do this, and the state's really been holding back those funds.
Thank you, audience, for that question. Speaking of what they said, you said that if it's really damaged in the school, they're going to rebuild it or they're going to shut it down. But it's a lot of schools that are nice and they have good conditions, but they still shut them down and shift students to a different neighborhood to go to school at because of the quality of education. But the schools they send them to is still a little messed up. So what do you think about that? Do you think it's just because of the schools, or it's because they just want charter schools to be in that school at this point now?
Wow, that's a deep question. I think that there is an agenda to open up more charter schools, in all honesty. The concern of my campaign, the organization that I'm working with, is really focused on facilities. But if you do look at what's happening, it does seem like there's a trend towards closing public schools and opening up charter schools. And again, that's really unfortunate because we already have these public schools and we should be fixing them, not shutting them down.
Now we have another question from the audience.
Why do you feel that the suburban schools have more control over their district schools than the urban schools do?
Good question, Wesley. Yeah, why is that?
The issue in terms of control actually goes back to the Supreme Court case Abbott versus Burke, in which the Supreme Court ruled because the urban schools were in such disrepair and were so underfunded that the suburban and urban schools needed to be funded at the same level. So that court case actually mandated, funding for urban and suburban schools to be the same. And at the same time, that's at the point that the state was actually put in charge and mandated to repair and build new schools in the urban districts, which was actually a really good thing. So the state, it has all this money to really repair and build new schools in the urban districts. That's good. What hasn't been so good is over the last 2 years with Governor Christie in office, he put a halt, he stalled all new school construction and all repairs. So nothing has happened over the last 2 years, even though they have $4 billion.
So you said that since Governor Christie became in office, that he stalled all that. Why, in your opinion, why do you think he just try to stop new schools being put in Newark?
Well, I mean, it wasn't Newark focused, but the reason he stalled new construction is because he wanted to change the program and the way that they decided new schools would be built. So there was already 52 schools that were slated to be built across the state, some in Newark, some in Camden, some in Jersey City. And they weren't satisfied with how those decisions were made, so they decided to come up with an entirely new decision-making process. And so when they did that, it took them like a year to come up with this new process and a new list. Unfortunately, schools had already been in the works. So there are plots of land, actually, across the state that are empty because those schools were supposed to be built and then they decided to change their plan. And so now there's another list of 102 schools now that are supposed to be built, but they still haven't actually got to the construction piece.
What is the formula to determine how money is going to be spent to repair schools?
In all honesty, there is very little transparency. So I don't know, and I don't think anybody knows except for the people who work at the School Development Authority what the formula is. So we don't know. We're all kind of sitting here in the dark not knowing how they're making these decisions.
What is your organization's agenda to help solve this problem?
So the New Jersey Work Environment Council is launching a campaign actually in the fall called Healthy Schools Now. And this campaign is all about raising awareness and putting pressure on the state to release the money to fund and build and repair new schools in Newark and the other SDA districts. But we're also looking to, the agenda for the campaign is broader than that. So we want to unite the urban and suburban schools that are in disrepair. So there's also a few measures around indoor air quality and safe temperatures that are problems across the state that would unite all of the districts. Because I'm sure you've been in a classroom where it's 95 degrees, you can't learn.
It was hot. Seriously.
Yeah. And that's something that's happening everywhere. So there's like a piece of legislation that's really basic that just says, school temperatures need to be between 68 and I think it's like 72 or maybe higher than that, but basic. And the school should have a plan, so if it goes beyond those temperatures, they need to have a plan to evacuate students or what to do.
Yeah, they keep us in there burning up. They don't care if it's 100 degrees or nothing. They'll have us in there trying to learn. But I think we have a question from our audience.
How do you think you and your organization could enforce or maybe even force the state to rebuild schools, not in the sense of breaking them down, but making it a better structure internally so that students can learn without any harmful repairs?
Yeah, how can y'all help?
We are trying to force the SDA to release the funds to repair these schools by launching a campaign. We need everyone who's in these districts to really get involved. The only way that we're going to be able to get them to do something is by getting students like yourselves, parents, teachers, community groups, really talking about this issue, sending letters, making phone calls, joining the campaign, really raising awareness and getting enough people involved to put pressure on the SDA. So the point of the campaign is really to galvanize all the people who are already upset about this issue and make sure that we are able to use that energy to put pressure on the SDA.
So where are we now with the project?
Right now, we are in the process of planning a launch of the campaign in the fall. We are, right now, we are building a coalition of organizations to launch the campaign. We're working on our materials, we're talking to organizations, we're having meetings. We are in the process of putting all of our efforts together to launch the campaign in October.
We have another question from our audience.
Do you think if the Newark public school system wasn't taken over by the state in '95, do you think more school repairs would be going on right now?
Go Nia, go Nia. So what you think about that?
Great question, Nia. Definitely. If Newark had local control, I think that they would be able to repair more of their schools.
Well, this was School Repairs with YMS Live. I'm Brianna Hall, and thank you for coming. See ya.